Yo, what is up, guys? Today we're here to talk about the evolution of my USPSA guns, and we're doing that for the simple fact that it is the off season here in Michigan. It's absolutely freezing outside, and there's a snowstorm inbound. So, with that said, let's talk about, like I said, my evolution of guns. But before that, I want to give a quick backstory on how I started shooting and why. Kind of a funny story, I think. I was particularly never into firearms. We never grew up with any guns in the house. I had a bunch of friends that like shooting guns, and they would ask me all the time, like, yo, let's go to the range. But to me, I didn't see the self-defense aspect or the sporting aspect of any of it. To me, I looked at it like just throwing money downrange. I wasn't really into that. And then one day, randomly, I stumbled across a 3-gun video. And I was like, holy shit, that is the sickest thing I've ever seen. Called up all my friends. I was like, yo, I'm buying a bunch of guns. Let's get going, dude. Let's get this shit going. And that was March of 2021. So that will make this going into my 5th year of USPSA. So like I said, we'll go through these guns, and I'll probably give you a little background on why I picked them, how they worked out for me, probably do some rambling because honestly, talking to a camera is still very new and it's super weird. So I tend to ramble. But let's get into it. Let's talk about those guns. Gun 1. Boom. Canik TP9 SFX. I picked this up. So like I said, I gave you guys my backstory on why I started shooting. Found that 3-gun video, went and picked this up probably a week later. Prior to that, I can count on how many times I've been to the gun range. I probably went there, like I said, 3-4 times in my life. Wasn't a huge shooter. Went, picked this up, grabbed a couple hundred rounds of ammo, did one indoor range session, and went and shot a match that weekend. That was my introduction to USPSA. So the reason why I picked this gun was strictly based on price. I, like most people, went into the Facebook group, the competition groups, asked around what people were shooting and what they were using, and naturally asked what the best bang for the buck or cheapest gun I could get away with, honestly. This was before I figured out the buy once, cry once method. So that's how I ended up with this. Not a bad gun, but funny enough, I picked this up. I shot iron sights with this. I shot limited for 2, maybe 3 matches. Shot, like I said, 2 or 3 matches with this, and then immediately picked up my second gun, which we'll talk about. But as far as that goes, didn't shoot it a whole lot at the beginning. But this gun, it was a great value. I mean, I'm sure most people know about the Caniks, the factory trigger. This gun is completely stock. The factory trigger is pretty good. Can't really complain, especially on a... this was about $500, give or take. Been super reliable. I shoot it a handful of times a year. You know, it doesn't come out of the safe much, but it does make it out. Wasn't and still not necessarily stoked on the grip. That's kind of what made me change. The frame just didn't fit my hand super great. But other than that, it was super reliable. And then when I picked this up, it was actually during COVID, the height of COVID. So shit was literally crazy. Finding ammo was tough. Ammo was just beyond price gouged. It was absolutely insane. People were paying 70 cents a round for 9mm. But I was so new to the sport, I didn't care, honestly. I just wanted to shoot. And I bought a lot of shit ammo, basically anything I could get a hold of for this, and this gun ran all of it flawlessly. So nothing real bad to say about the Canik. I think the newer ones, like the Rival and then whatever the other ones are, they're super cool. Still real good bang for the buck, real great value in these guns. So definitely would recommend the Canic line of pistols. Gun 2, the SIG P320. This is actually a Max Michel signature gun. This was not my second gun. The second one I bought is actually long gone. I started with a Legion, was actually my second gun. Along the same line, similar. Started with the Legion with a Hollow Sun. It's actually this dot that was a mechanic. This is the 507C. Kind of a small window for competition. It was a cool dot. Wasn't bad, but was before the competition model. So anyway, besides the point. So shot, like I said, my first 2 or 3 matches with the Canic. Picked up the 320, immediately put a dot on it because I am horrible. To this day, I'm horrible with iron sights. Actually, funny enough, shooting the dot helped me with, when I do shoot irons on very seldom occasions now, I can actually target focus better after shooting a dot, so that helped out in that aspect. But so again, went to the Legion and then actually picked up one of these before I started getting serious. That was probably my second year I shot one gun was the Legion, and then my third year I started taking USPSA more serious and got a backup gun, which was the P320 Max. Cool guns, happy with them. As you might know, I still shoot these to this day, so definitely like these. Boom. My third and kind of my fourth gun, but definitely my favorite gun by far. Just the SIG P320, but with the Gray Guns uppers. This is actually the Lockwood upper, and I have a Modern Classic as well. These definitely highly improved the 320 for me. I have like an old review of this upper and absolutely love it. So if you want to hear more about that, check that review out. The short of it is it cleaned up the accuracy a ton over the stock 320, and then just cycles better, shoots flatter. It's better overall. It is kind of expensive, but it's worth it. But what made me really stick with this platform is I seen Aaron English and Al McCall, I believe his name was. They were actually modifying the stock frames. And I was definitely real nervous to start hacking into a $250 frame. But I did. I took a leap. So as you can see, like where they narrowed the back strap out. And then this one has some palm swells to it. So that made this platform a whole lot better for me. The fact, like I said, the upper paired with the custom frame for my hands was it was night and day difference over the stock 320. That and the fact that along the way I was picking up, anytime I was on Marketplace or like the Facebook groups and I seen used magazines, parts, holsters, anything 320 related, I was buying. So it was still real hard to switch platforms when I have so much money invested in these. I have 3 or 4 of them now, 2 Gray Guns, stock Max. So, oh my God, endless amount of magazines. So again, it is hard to switch platforms. I am definitely slightly biased in that aspect, but that does not, don't let that take away from these guns themselves. They are, in my opinion, really good. I've had good luck with them. The FCUs in this gun, this is actually from my first Legion I ever bought, and it has a ton of rounds on it. If I had to guess round count, I think I shot 15,000 on this upper last year. I probably put 5,000 or so on that first one. This has bare minimum of 20,000 rounds on the FCU. All stock. Actually, I lied. This one has a P320, the Max competition kit in it. So it's just a couple springs, but nothing crazy in that aspect. Either way, yeah, again, like I said, too much rambling. This is my third kind of my fourth gun. So on to the next. My fourth gun was the CZ Shadow 2. And I bought this honestly because Ben Stoger Pro Shop had these on sale for Black Friday at one year. And it was a pretty good deal. And I wanted to see what the hype was about compared to the P320. So when I picked this up, at this point in time, I had the Canic, which I definitely moved on from. I had a stock 320, and I was shooting as my backup gun a stock 320. And then my main gun, my match gun, was the Gray Guns Lockwood. So I picked this up. I shot this for half a season or so, maybe, and really good. I actually have a comparison of this versus like the stock 320 and the Gray Guns somewhere on the channel. This is supposed to have a red dot on it, but it had SRO on it, and it took a shit after. This gun, when I stopped shooting it, probably had 1,500 rounds on it, and the SRO shit the bed, stopped working. The emitter was done. I actually do have a brand new one. It's in the safe. I just haven't put it on because I don't really shoot this that much. But yeah, so this was, like I said, my fourth gun. Super good. I want to actually pick this up again this year, especially if I go back to IPSC Nats, because shooting the stock 320 is not as nice as this, at least for me. So I'd prefer this over the stock 320, so I might get back into the Shadow 2 platform again this year, just for a little bit. So with that said, let's check out the next one. All right, so before I picked up this last gun, I actually, in the meantime, after the Shadow 2, had picked up my second Gray Guns upper, because I was full commitment on those, and I was shooting those, so I had like two fully custom 320s that I liked. Take a backup gun. At that point, I traveled a few times for majors, and paying all that money, I definitely wanted two guns that I really liked. So again, we had the Canic, the stock Legion, 320 max, and then I went to the Gray Guns uppers, picked up the Shadow, and then picked up my second Gray Guns. And then at that point, I hadn't bought a few guns, or I hadn't really bought any pistols for a long time. At that point, I was so focused on the 320. But when I started shooting, and even as a kid, the 1911 was like such an iconic handgun, but the 8 rounds or 7 or 8 rounds of 45 ACP is not, it's not the what I wanted for competition. I didn't have any aspirations to shoot single stack. And then I guess one day I woke up and thought I hit the lottery or something, or could afford this, but I actually picked this up. And this is an Atlas Athena in hard chrome. And this was my dream gun when I started shooting USPSA. I thought this thing was literally the sickest gun you could buy. And granted, I do know there is nicer 2011s out there and whatnot. But I thought this thing was, again, literally the sickest. For whatever reason, I thought just Atlas was the cream of the crop. So picked that up. I actually got it at a relatively good deal, so I can't complain about it. But it's something, that's for sure. I don't really want to talk too much about this because I am going to do a full review on it, on the things I like, and there's a few things I don't like. But this was the final pistol I picked up, and then since picking that up, I shot this majority of last season, and it was good. I do like, it's been super reliable. It's been a great gun. But I am, for the 2025 season, going to go back to the Gray Guns 320s. Slight hot take here, and potentially get some people kind of salty, but I have these laid out in the order I would buy them again, or I guess the order of how much I actually like them. And we're gonna go from left to right, being left being the one I probably would shoot the least and maybe potentially not buy again, and then all the way to the right we got the two. I stacked them like that because they are the two that are very, in my eyes, equal. So to sum all this up, I would say buy what you like, buy what you think is sweet, buy what you're gonna shoot. Um, in most cases, if you're a new guy looking at this to see what gun you should buy, I would highly recommend going to the gun range or your local USPSA match. Most of the guys there are like me, where they've unfortunately invested in prior platforms that they're not 100% stoked on. Everyone at the local clubs is super nice. They will let you shoot all their guns. Trust me, if I seen you at a match and you're like, hey, I'm thinking about getting a Shadow 2 or a Canic, I would happily bring him to the next match and let you try him out at the end. So if you can do something like that, that's the way to go. I wouldn't necessarily invest in a ton of stuff if you don't have to. So I would suggest buying a backup gun. It doesn't have to be the exact same, but obviously working with the same holster and magazines and things of that nature would be better, especially if you're going to take the sport serious. I would do that before I invest in a ton of other platforms that you're not going to shoot. So if you got any questions, leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And we'll catch you on the next one. Later, guys.